You are watching us on LatinWavesMedia.com, and I'm Sylvia Richardson. I'm the host of Latin Waves, and I'm joined by Linda Ketchiwes. She's a beautiful member of I Don't Know More, and I'm really happy to be joined by you today. Thank you for being here.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, we've been dreaming and thinking and just imagining what a People's Social Forum could create, could invite, what possibilities might emerge. What has this journey been like for you?
Well, the first I'd ever heard of a People's Social Forum was in the meeting that we were about that. And it sounded so intriguing and I mean so broad. I mean the possibilities are endless. I'm glad it wasn't my job to try and figure out what all those possibilities would be. Like all of these huge assemblies and everything that's gone on, I could never envision that, really. I could see the Indigenous aspect of it on a very narrow scale, and it's so beautiful to see it woven into, this whole huge experience as well as it is. Like, I'm really glad to be part of it, but I certainly could have never done what the people have done here.
It was it's a real journey when we think about it, right? The kinds of creative and amazing projects that when we come together, when we work together, we create, we do amazing things. And so one of the things that I think has been particularly exciting about this social forum is the idea of bringing together multiple grassroots movements, these movements that imagine a world with clean water, with public health, with employment that respects the dignity of workers, that asserts the right to be a worker in a safe place, that all these amazing ideas about who we are that we've created over years and decades of different struggles, and in many ways different collaborations. So what has been perhaps the one thing that has impressed you the most being at this forum, or maybe one of the workshops that you've attended that you really felt like, wow, this is what?
It was actually the opening march, and when we were working on it, it was sort of practical. You're working on it. It was like we had a sort of a dream, and then we were doing the pieces to make it go. And I was thinking about the 2-row wampum, like how could we work that into it? And then one of the union guys, Robert, said, how we did it one time was we came along and then one half of the road was this one union and one half of the road was another union. And I was just like, oh, imagine the English and the French, and then beside each other and us in like an arrowhead, in the front, and just the beauty of us all coming together from all different directions. And it went so well, and I was so excited by it. The feeling of it, it really impressed me. All of the people and the heart in it. Yeah.
One of the things that we never, some of us do, but I think is the freedom to think of a movement as something that is exciting, that is, a celebration of people's imagination, heart, and spirit, and so I wonder, in one of the workshops that I attended, it was a very exciting workshop, they asked us, they said, if your movement, this movement that you want to create was to be an animal, what kind of animal would you make it, what would be your symbol, what would be your animal symbol? And so I'm curious what you would consider would be an ideal symbol for a movement. I asked this question to my partner, and he says it will be a giant turtle. And I said, a giant turtle? He says, yes, absolutely. And he says, because they're wise, they're ancient, they remember how things were, how things will be, and they have this amazing gentleness about it. And I thought, so I'm curious what...
Well, at first I was thinking of something soft and strong, like a llama or something like that. And then I thought, I don't really know anything about them, so that would be a bad animal. So then I was thinking of an ant, because there's many of us, and we're all so integral to the movement. Like, I don't care what you do, whether you're just the person who arrives an hour late and shows up at the end of the march or whatever, and just that person is just as important as the people who are at the front. And then when you're doing the work, that person might be the person who carries the weight all along. you know. So it's not about first and second, and you know, it's not this numerical thing or anything. It's all it's, you know, knitting up this movement that's made of all these different ants. So I'm thinking ants because we're all so busy in our lives too. Like the movement, you know, is only one aspect of you. Although I'll tend to say that it drives your everything else, you know, because you get so involved. But when you're protecting water, I mean, how far are you not supposed to go? You know, like when should I say, well, they're like, oh, I am tired of protecting that water. You know, I really should get onto something more important. Like, what could be more important than that? So
now, I love that you said that, you know, in the movement where ants are our symbol, and this idea of being working collectively, you know, because we're individuals, but we're working to create a collective, you know, anthill, you know, and we're all in it, right? So the weaving was a beautiful metaphor for me. And I was thinking, well, if that were to be our movement, then how would we create the spaces for those little ants who are just in larvae, you know, status right now, to become, you know, integrated, to become excited about it? How do we create, you know, the movement so it's an exciting movement, one that little baby ants will be, you know, just eager to join in and start working and carrying things around and doing things?
Well, involving them in the first place, I find that, you know, you bring the little ants along with you and they just get into it. My little ant grew into a big ant who is, you know, very, very aware on a lot of different levels from the things that the little ants pick up. Like we go to these social forums and we have workshops that we're going to present at, or I had my public safety plan that had to be, you know, make sure everybody was safe. We're going to have 4,000 people out there walking. They need to be able to be completely safe and comfortable and happy and blah, blah, blah. But all my son was doing, he was going along doing something on a different level, and he got something different from it. And I would always find that when we got home, you know, his take on stuff was just so beautiful and innocent. It was like, he always kept that coming back to me, that feeling of beauty and love for other people, when you can get into it like it's a job and be very, you know, and people get like that. And I find you bring the little ants along and it stops us from being like that and makes us remember to be human with all of each other, that all of our stuff is important. You know, the water assembly is important, yes, but so is the Indigenous, and so about the workers, and you know, so I don't know, let's bring our little ants along with us when we're doing these things and make sure that provide them a good place to be by all treating each other well and lovingly, because it's a hard world out there, you know, and we do get tough and hard and, you know what I mean, competitive, and I don't know, just keep the hearts open and bring the little ants with us everywhere we go.
It's a beautiful metaphor. I was thinking about I was in a meeting and someone said, you know, human beings are the only ones that can reason. You know, we are the only ones that can have rational thought. And I said, really? How do you come to that conclusion? I said, you know, when I was a child, my father used to, you know, plant the corn crop. And I remember sometimes they would burn certain parts of the field, which is a terrible practice, by the way. It doesn't enrich the soil, but when it happens, there was a little anthill, and you could see that the ants kept going back and removing every single little larvae that was inside. They kept going, even though that was a fire, and they, you know. And I thought, how do I know? How can I say that humans can feel more? You know, when I watch this, you know, as a child, I got the message. I could see that that's not the case, you know. And I think that there's so many ways that we distance ourselves from nature, that we separate and think, you know, we're at the top of the food chain, I would like to say, you know. But how would a movement made up of ants conceive of our world other than this hierarchical structure of food chain and, you know, commerce language?
I always think of ants as nibbling away little bit by little bit, you know what I mean? You never see them going and grabbing huge chunks of things. They're always, even when it's a huge chunk to an ant, it's only about, you know, this big, so they're never being horrifically greedy or, overtaking what the other animals would not also be able to enjoy the share. And I think that it's going to part of the whole theme of this whole place, and having everybody together like this. It's a chance for us all to share with each other not just our stories, but walk away stronger, knowing that even though they're not Indigenous people fighting Indigenous battles about land or rights or our rights, blah blah blah, you do tend to get really, it's enriching, and they're sharing with us, we're sharing with them. We're going to continue doing that. We have built some bridges in here for Idle No More and Defenders of the Land with unions and people that we don't typically really fraternize all that much with, although they're very sympathetic to our cause as we are theirs. And I really felt that here in the last couple of days.
And I was thinking that, a movement that has just what you said, this ability to be open, to open our hearts and listen to where others have come from and the journey that they're on, right? Because we're all on this journey to become fully productive, collective ants. It's a beautiful metaphor, I like it. Can you hear that? It's
That's great.
And, I think if there was a message that you wanted to share with the world, people who were not able to be here, what would be your invitation for those who are watching this video?
Watch the live stream, watch the videos that come out of it, listen to what people are saying. There's going to be other people's social forums, plan to be at the next one. And this way, the people who couldn't get a vision of it, because like I said right at the beginning, was I said I'd help. When I felt you guys were taking the lead on this, that you kind of knew more what we were talking about. I was just kind of like, okay, I'll be on the hiring committee. Okay, I'll do this. But I never really had I couldn't ever envision what we're doing now, and it's amazing. But if people watch what's going on and realize that, they too you can do a workshop, you can hold an event, you can be part of the marching or of the storytelling or the drumming, and here comes the whole powwow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you can do that too. So much fun here, and learn and share.
That's beautiful. Thank you. So for all of you out there who are watching this, please visit our website,
idlenomore.ca,
or latinwaysmedia.com, or
our Facebook page, Idle No More Ontario, or Idle No More, the national page.
So we will be posting all of these videos, and thank you for watching, thank you for participating, thank you for envisioning a world that we can co-create and in which we can all coexist in a way that is respectful and a celebration, really, because I think our movement needs to become a dance.
It is a dance. We always end with a round dance, so it's like it's even fun.
It's true. I know. Thank you very much for being with us. This is Latin Ways Media, and please visit latinwaysmedia.com.